right, hello everyone. This is Leslie Powers here with Derek Bartolicelli, and we have another exciting Dissolving the Divide today with our international guest, Dorian
Hello.
Sarrasin. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me today. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. We made it work. You're all the way in Taiwan, Derek in France.
Yeah.
So,
And last time I saw Dorian was actually in France,
Yeah.
uh, 30, 40 kilometers from where I'm living at, right next to Marseille,
Yeah.
right around the way. And you are staying in Taiwan and you got it going on, and you're quite the exquisite artist with, dance, painting, uh, creating wonderful soaps and healthcare products and all these things. People can check out our website, and if you want to mention that towards the end. But yeah, we are curious as to what your observations has been towards certain things around and and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and just you brought up some interesting topics you wanted to discuss with us. So yeah, Dorian, tell us a little about yourself and yeah.
Well, thank you, Derek. It was great to meet you in France. We were really neighbors, and it's always good to meet like-minded people and make new friends. So yes, I'm an artist. I'm a dancer, and I also paint and make handmade products with plants. But dance is my first passion, I would say, with drawing. So that's what I was just simply doing as a child. So dancing and drawing. I don't know what I was doing more, dance or drawing, but I know that's what I was doing. And dance, I was lucky to go to a dance school that was just a few minute walk from my building. And drawing was like taking a random notebook and a pencil, like the big pencils, and that's what I was using. I didn't have watercolors or you know any fancy art supplies, so I was filling like 200 pages, like
mm,
really big notebooks, and just drawing, and doing some contests at school. Like if we had a project, and I would be so happy to create. And I remember I won a drawing contest at school for our neighborhood. So we had to draw the neighborhood and do some kind of sensibilization of people like littering the space, with the dog poop and
oh,
very French, So we had to, draw like the neighborhood, how we would like if it was dirty, and
ugh,
how we would like when it would be clean, when people care about the space. It was interesting, and I was one of the winner of the contest, and our drawing was in every business in the neighborhood, so like the pharmacy, the bakery store, everywhere. It was very interesting, but really for me, drawing was something I will naturally do and without thinking. Yeah. And the plants. I always like working with plants, making natural products. But this is also in 2008, when I started to find, uh, toxic ingredients in our cosmetics. So I found a chart with all the harmful ingredients in certain brands, and all brands that were testing on animals, etc. So this made me realize, oh, is there a way to find some cosmetics or products that we put on our skin that don't have that much harmful ingredients? And that's how I found some forums at the time with recipes, and I started to make my own creams. Not soaps at the time. Soaps came later. I went to take a workshop in Bali in 2018. So all the time before it was simply, creams or oils, body oils, simple things. And also to realize, oh, we can just use simple ingredients like a simple oil that doesn't need to even have anything added to it. And we can just use that for the face or for our hair. And that's enough. So we don't need all this harm done to us because it goes through the skin, which is um, absorbing so much ingredients, and also the harm done to animals.
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted to share it with people. So as soon as I started to make this for me, I started to share it with friends and family. And I had some friends who started to do their own. We were sharing like the website we were finding at the time, like forums, like I said, was not on YouTube like now and everywhere. So I was happy to share that with people too. And now I'm like I saw you put it on the screen. Share it on the website that I have, or people can simply contact me. And yeah,
Yeah.
more holistic options.
That's great. Yeah. So it looks like in your life that you followed the path of your like callings,
Mm.
and loved things that you've loved to do and found a way to incorporate that into your day-to-day life as a grown-up. It's like,
And actually, you said a word, a little sentence that I say often is find a way. I'm
mm,
always on the find a way mindset. When I look back at how I did things, even as a child or teenager or growing up, I always found a way because I had obstacles. It was not, okay, you want to do painting, or okay, go to an art school and here the door is open for you. It was, there were obstacles where also I had to change my path sometimes because I couldn't study art anymore, or um, and then I still found a way. And I think it's important to remember that you can find a way. There's
yeah,
always a way, and you can find it yourself. You can build the path. You don't know what to do, but if you remember what you're supposed to do or your purpose, you can build that path even if nobody built it before. At school you always have these little books and booklets where they show you all the jobs you could potentially do in the future, and I always find them limited. I could never find something that would speak to me, and I was like, oh, then if I like dance, that I would have to be in that mold. But I'm not sure if I want to do this. Or if I like art, then I should be an art teacher. So for sometimes like, okay, then I would like to be an art teacher, but it's more like you're trying to find something from a list. It's not really coming out of you.
yes, great point. And that really brings us to kind of declare this umbrella topic that we're going to talk about, which you articulated is what we are here to do. Our purpose, our calling from within, like you just said, versus what society or our family, our school system, etc., programs us to do, or pressures and coerces us to do. And then when I think it's good to talk about that, those are different things, right? And how we navigate through. And my first question though is like, you said something about remember your purpose. And I think that that's sometimes with all of the programming, I think a lot of people they don't know what that is. They don't know how to figure out what their internal calling is. And I'd love to hear more about what your thoughts are on that.
Yes, that's where you have to remove the layers that have been blinding you from seeing what you're supposed to do. It can be video games. If you grew up with lots of video games, that will blur your vision completely.
Mhm.
And I've been falling into some video games around 13 years old, and I could
Mhm.
recognize that this was becoming addictive.
Mhm.
And it was, even when I stopped playing the game, it was always in my mind for years. Anytime I would see, in a random video, I would be, oh, I miss playing that game. I really want to play. So it was still living in my head, and I had to really cut it, go to the root, and be like, what is really making me want to play, because it's always attractive, it always stimulates you, and
Mhm.
then that's where it's killing your creativity also.
Mhm.
So I've been when I started to play video games is the time I was creating less. So
Uh,
I was still dancing because I had dance classes. Thankfully I had this outside of school, but I was drawing less. Definitely. And when I stopped, I was drawing again, because you end up on your desk, you get bored, you grab a pencil, and you start to scribble and do something. And then you're like, okay, let's do something again. And with all different things, I'm mentioning video games is just an example. It could be a lot of things, it could be many other programming, but it's just to find what's the program that is blurring your vision, and blurring your like blocking your creativity, or your the vision to see, to see what you're supposed to do, or what you like to do. Because you might like sport or do certain things, I don't know, anything, but if you put too much of your energy in that program, you might not even see that maybe that sport or that thing is your purpose.
mhm.
Boom, yeah. That reminds me, Leslie, did you not just release part 8 of your Live and Thrive
Yeah.
about that? If you wanted to share something that pertains to what you just talked about, right?
Yeah, it's so timely, really, that this has
Yeah.
been on my mind a lot. This idea of finding our North Star, finding our kind of like the true direction of our soul path, and
Mm.
seeing it as a discovery, really, that, like you said, is you kind of have to stake back the layers of the things that are blocking us from kind of looking inside and feeling and seeing, what's true about what we're here to do. Yeah, and what we love.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll be very interested to learn more about your research and your work about it.
Yeah, it's
It's
a, it's a
and link.
beginning. It's a beginning, and
Yeah.
I'll do more. But yeah, I think it's important because, like, we're all born unique beings, right? We're completely unique. No one else in the whole planet is like us. Our template, our genetics, everything. And I tend to think, that we're not. It's not random that we're born now and here, at this time, and that
Mhm.
the world sort of needs what we have to give. And
Mm.
yet, if all we're focused on is what's coming at us from the outside, we're not going to be able to listen to those inner, more subtle intuitions and callings. And
Yeah.
like you said, turn off the TV, turn off the video game, be bored,
Yeah.
kind of be still, and
Right.
find those times and places to listen inside and see what comes out, right?
Yeah, it's exactly about listening inside, listening, and finding that voice again. It's here in every one of us, and to simply realize that you've had a program. Like you say, it can be the TV, it can be like video games, it can be school, it can be the family, parents, religion, so many things, so
Yeah.
many things that are a voice in the back.
Yeah, I mean, and like the society tends to discourage artists or people studying philosophy. When I was in high school, the guidance counselor asked me what I wanted to study, and I said philosophy. And very quickly, they each said me that I wouldn't get a job. What else would I like to do? And I saw psychology. Then no, but it's. I even see it with my daughter, where she's kind of discouraged in a way from going in a direction she's naturally interested in, for the more pragmatic, where's the job, where are
Mm.
the jobs? And I'm wondering, what have you faced in terms of resistance to your calling, and how have you overcome that?
Yeah, um, that's something that I faced very young, I would say, with wanting to study art, but not really knowing where and what. I really had no idea. I knew that I liked my art class in junior high school and I wanted to do something with art. But when I was going to high school, there were two main high schools in my hometown. So it's a small hometown. And
What
I wanted to
hometown is that? Martigues?
Martigues.
Slash.
Yes. Which we visited. Yeah, so it's very small, you know. You've been there. And and I knew I wanted to go to the high school that had an art class option. So not even a main class, but I wanted to continue art. Um, and my father had a friend who was how is it called, like a principal of a junior high school. So yeah, director or principal. Yeah, I mean in French we say principal, but yeah. Anyway, so the person who
A
manages the
superintendent, maybe even, but
okay, yeah. How do you say it? An attendant, a superattendant?
superintendent. But that could be like an overseer of,
Mm,
never mind. It doesn't
okay,
matter really,
well,
but
you
sorry.
understand. It's not so important.
You can
His
think of the
position, his
yeah.
working position.
We don't really, respect his authority, anyways.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is exactly about authority. So because my father sees um, authority as something to be followed, and so he listened to his friend, who is for him knows better because my father is not working in a school at this position, but his friend is, so we should listen to him. And he said this high school has less success results than the other high school. So my father came back and said, "No, you have to go to that high school." And I was like, "No, I want to study art. I want to go to this high school." And it was very clear that I couldn't choose. I had to
Mm,
go there, and it was like this. So I couldn't really resist. I tried, and I thought, okay, I go to this high school, and I'll find a way. So that's always in the back of my head. You want me to go there anyway? Okay, it's fine. I'll still find a way. So I went to this high school, which was um, actually very good, and I met some of my best friends now, and I had a great time. But it was more like the options I had to choose were more language oriented because I didn't want to study more math or more economics. So I studied what was left, and it was not art. So it was languages. So I had to choose a third language, which was Italian, because I was already studying English and Spanish. And my only option was to study Italian. And it's a beautiful language, but at that time I didn't want to study Italian. So that was like an obstacle I had to navigate through. And eventually, in 3 years of high school, um, life happens in certain way, and I ended up wanting to study martial arts
mm.
outside of school. But I think my brother was watching so many kung fu movies that I was eating one day and thought, I want to study this. So I went to my father and said, I want to study martial arts. I want to study kung fu. And years ago, I came with football. I said, I want to study football. And he said, it's dance or football. And I said, okay, okay, forget about football. It's dance. But this time he said the same thing. It's kung fu or dance. And I said, kung fu. He said, are you sure you're going to stop the dance school? No more dance classes. I was in that same school since 4 years old. And now
Mm,
I'm like 16 years old when this
mhm,
happened. And I said, yeah, yeah, I will stop the dance school and I go to kung fu. So he said, okay, then go. So what I appreciate is still he let me do it,
mhm,
not like the art class, but this led me then to more to study more languages, because then I wanted to study Chinese language and
mm,
everything around Chinese civilization or even arts. And this is when I started to study this at university. So because I went through the languages option, then I still found something I like, which was Chinese martial arts. And because I was already in the language, um, like studying so many languages in high school, that now I started to shift my vision to languages. And I was
Mhm.
thinking, okay, I will go through art through languages.
Mhm.
So I think I saw languages as a form of art also. And I was like, okay, that's the art that I have in my hands now. I was still studying dance in high school. I didn't stop actually because we had a contemporary dance class. So I knew when my father said, "Is kung fu a dance?" I knew I still had a dance class in my pocket.
Right, right. That's so good. Right, and then
So
Kung
yeah.
Fu is like an art and it's about movement. And I imagine that you found ways to integrate the Kung Fu movements in artistic dance like ways, didn't you?
And actually, I've been doing this unconsciously.
Yeah.
Every time I've been doing improvisation, there's some movements that really look like martial arts inside, but I don't know I'm doing it when I do it. It's like the body, uh, you know, has learned some movements, and when you just improvise, you don't think, you don't try to do something specific. So that's what you've learned that comes out, and I will have influence from all the other dance styles I've learned,
Hmm.
and definitely, like you said, kung fu is a form of movement, so
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
part of it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, you got that fluid style. I've noticed it. And anyone listening right now, sorry, check out Dorian. Did you change your name or your
yes, yeah.
a
I
little bit?
had to change.
Yeah, it's not
I
Dorian
chose
Greens
to change.
anymore, but
No,
yeah, but yeah, you got some really awesome dance styles and videos and clips incorporating music. You have some really cool backgrounds involved, and like the cinematography is great. Your partner Line does a great job. Much love to him. But yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, so I changed the name, and then I had to change again to something that can be shorter. So at first I put back like my real last name and dance art, but it was too long and I couldn't even have like a username. It was not
Mm.
working. So then I made it to Dorian Dance Art.
Mm.
So then it's easier. Yeah. But yeah, so what I just want to share here by saying this experience is that you find a way. I want to add something is that when I got my degree at university, well, first of all, I went to study because I wanted to study this. I was not thinking about a job. So I was like, okay, I want to study this language and things around it. And I study research. So it's something like if you don't do a PhD after your master degree, you basically there's no job. And but I liked to study this because it was very free and I was able to study my topic, to write about like to write what I wanted to write. I had teachers to supervise, but like nobody changed my text, or it was very free actually. So that's why I like to mention the studies, because it was interesting to study. It was not trying to brainwash you into like do this like this and be in the box, and it was quite free. And when I got my degree, one day I read it again and I saw the word art in the main title, like Master of like Language, Civilization, and Arts. I don't remember exactly how it's written, but there was the word art, and I was like, oh, I did it. I did something with art actually. I couldn't study the art class in in high school, and I didn't go to an art school like for painting or dance or. But actually, yes, I did study art. So I was like, yeah, you see, you can always find a way. Even if you get pushed here or there, you make your own path and you find a way to still do it. So,
Yeah, that's
anyway, I'm not.
great.
Yeah, I mean, a degree is not important in itself. I'm not saying that we should study and get a degree. It's not that at all. But for me to read art on that paper that where I spent my time and energy, and where
Yeah.
I really wanted to study art, it was like, wow, yeah, if you want it, you can have it, or you can
Yeah.
create it. That's what I mean,
Yeah.
create. Yeah.
It's validating. And, there's like in your story, a lot of demonstration of persistence and determination and independent thinking, not really taking no for an answer, but also not being like blatantly defiant. You were, smart, and you were somewhat flexible, but you just kept persisting on that path, knowing what you were seeking. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was telling myself also. Like, okay, I'll move this way. Like, be flexible. Like you said, be flexible. I'll I'll find my way through it. And of course, I was not in something totally different that what I really wanted. So I still was able to choose to study language, because I could have chose economics or mathematics, or I
Hmm.
chose what I liked. It was not my
Hmm.
first choice, but still it was something that I really
Hmm.
enjoyed. I
Yes.
really liked languages. So, and
Mhm.
Ooh,
yeah,
does
I
that
wanted
get
to say
to?
something else. I forgot. We'll come back.
Yeah, if you want to think about that, I'm gonna mention some things because that could bring us to a headway where a lot of people feel like, all right, so is life predetermined in some kind of way? You mentioned how like things are programmed and yada yada, and yeah, even speaking with my girlfriend here in France, like she's got 3 kids and she's wondering how they're gonna navigate this reality and earn a salary without having to deal with going to university, possibly. But yes, in France, it seems like, yeah, you got to have that university to get a solid job and this, that. Even though you can get jobs in whatever thing, but it's just seen as like, lower tier income, whatever. And who cares, right? But what I wanted to bring up, and this is kind of like falls into this umbrella. Ooh, look at my back. But yeah, around the circle, you could even consider like the Ouroboros in the fact that it's been distorted or inverted, perverted. Of people are spinning in cycles, call it the rat race or whatever, or a broken record. And in regards to the dance of life, and people marching to the rhythm of their own heartbeat, unfortunately, they're a little offbeat because they're not properly aligned, because they've been swayed this way or that way through social conditioning, generational whatever upbringing, and yada yada, being pulled from whatever. And these days it's unbelievable of all the social media and yada yada. So for someone to really you know get back into their own like dance of life and go through that trance and dance, the transcendence of all that shit, right? It's a tough task to tackle, but I'm sure you can help folks navigate and break those shackles.
Yeah, actually, that's what I wanted to say earlier, and that I forgot. It's when you have to remember what you're supposed to do, or when you have to do it. One thing that is important is you cannot care about what people or society will think or say, because this will cover, I mean, this will hide your purpose. You will hide it to yourself when you're focused on what society wants you to do,
Yeah.
what they allow you to do, or what they make, what you were saying, like they discourage you, and financially, or uh, with so many levels. Like you talked about social media, it's part of the distraction also. It's distraction to remove you from that purpose. And when you start to care about this, about what people will think if I'm just an artist or whatever I want to do, but it's not something people see as a success in society, or what people will think of me if I do it. What How much money will I get? Because money cannot be your motive, cannot be your motivation. I mean,
Mhm.
it's first, it's the things you want to do. So there will be many things, or we can call them obstacles. Can be what people think, can be money, can be the rewards you have from society, and this cannot be the thing you put first.
Mm-hmm.
Eh,
Mm-hmm.
this will not allow you to fulfill that task you have to do, not task, but that purpose.
Yeah.
So first I would say it's very important to get rid of this, because in all the programs we have some, like if you just go to public school, they will teach you or train you to um, look at what others are doing, and you will be scared of what they think of you, and you'll be punished if you don't follow the what everybody else is doing. So then it creates so much
Or if you get a
fear
bad
when you grow up.
grade.
Sorry.
Or if you get a bad grade, like the fear
Yeah.
mongering, whatever, in a sense, or
Yes.
impending fear of failure.
Your grades, yeah, pressure
Yeah.
and measurement.
Yeah, and grades are what are they? They are grades that people say that, like, this will be what you have to attain, but it doesn't mean that if you do something else it deserves a zero.
Right.
It's also, but you will think like, oh, if I don't do this thing, then I'm not succeeding. It's like another layer to get rid of is what people think and what society think, how they see you. Is you have to be strong in how you see yourself, and that's
Yeah.
enough. As long as you do what is good and correct and moral, you're not harming anybody, but you're strong in into knowing who you are, and if it has to be defining what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
you stay strong, and you stay grounded in this decision of what you decide, what you want to do, and no matter what people think, because it will be like winds trying to push you here and distract you here, and social media and this and what they say, and how you look in front of your family, or your friends, or society in general. And there's there's nothing wrong with your purpose. Like I say
Yeah.
again, as long as it's not harming anybody.
Yeah. Do you have any tips or advice to help people with that difficult, like, task you just described? Because I think that's one of the hardest things is that people are afraid to be authentic and to go against the grain of society, and are filled with doubt or fear of being harassed, hassled or teased or whatever it might
Yeah,
be. And
um, you have to realize who will be that person in front of you doing that, and why they're doing it, and there's no reason that can interfere with your right action, whether it's in a
Mhm.
form of art and your purpose. You need to understand that the person, um, maybe they're hurt, maybe they're just mean, maybe they're not in a good place in their life to want to stop someone from doing what they're supposed to do, or to laugh at them, or to tease, or to harass, or it's always coming from their own problems or their own traumas, or do you want to carry this on you and stop doing what you're here to do because they're they are they are not dealing with their own issues, and you cannot deal with those issues. So if you understand this, you also understand that you have your own issues to deal with, that you can only deal with, and then that's what's important to focus on. And there's as long as they don't cross the line, then you will have to do something. But if it's
Mhm.
like noise in the back, let it be. Will uh,
Mhm.
People will find it's sad actually, but because they are harming others, because they're not dealing with their harm,
Yeah.
their own the own things that hurt them, in the past or even still now. But at some point,
Mhm.
you have to realize the responsibility. Who is that responsibility? And if you start to take your responsibility to deal with that issue that you cannot really fix unless they really want help from you, then you will not spend time doing what you're here to do. And
Yeah.
that's a shame. And we need people to do. And maybe these people who are harassing or laughing or criticizing, maybe then they will see that they can do that too, actually, is
Yes.
because they're here to do this as well. They're here
Yes.
to
And
find their purpose.
yeah. So the more you stay strong, then you become a model of a person who's strong, who, can inspire others, right?
Yeah, if your
Who's,
work can inspire other people, it's wonderful. It's
yeah.
because you want other people to also live their purpose and do
Mhm.
what they love and use that to, because you have to look at the situation in the world, sorry. If that purpose can be used to do God's work, or to do the great work, or to take that and make it devotion to truth, and
Mhm.
I would say that's what we're supposed to do,
Yeah.
eventually. So if it helps people or other beings, or if it's good for people, then um, do it. And if you can turn it into something, like I just said, look at the situation of the world and what it needs. And today, unfortunately, it needs uh, more. I would say, if you look at it as a fight, you need more weapon, and you can use that as a weapon to defend yourself and help others to find their weapon, and they can defend themselves as well.
Yeah. Your dance videos are quite deep, right? It's not just dance techniques, but you're really creating a message through your dance, and they're very artistic. And there's you clearly have exposure to esoteric knowledge and natural law, and some Freemasonic themes are woven through. So I'm really curious how you came upon all of that.
Yes, so um first I was just dancing because I went to a dance class, and I like to just dance by myself in my bedroom after dance class and create some stories. And I
Mhm.
will play some songs that I would have. Like, at the time, I had a small cassette, like a small, how is it called again? For music, you put it in
Yeah,
your
cassette tape.
tape.
A
Yeah.
Mhm.
Walkman, even.
So I will have this with all kinds of Christmas songs. So,
Uh-huh.
and I will make a dance piece on each song. Like,
Oh.
so I really enjoy to create alone in my room.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't, I was not really enjoying the performance in front of people. I like to perform in just with the music to
Mhm.
nobody. But anyway, then dance became just, you learn a dance style, and then you perform that dance style, whether it's
Mhm.
ballet or if it's a cultural dance like Tahitian dance, or
Mhm.
it has rules. And in contemporary dance, I really found a freedom, because the way I've learned it was based on improvisation.
Mm.
And I realized, whoa, improvisation, you can do whatever you want. There's no, I like dances where there's some codes, but I also enjoy where you can dance, where you can create
Mhm.
what's coming out of you. And like you say, we are unique. So then our
Mhm.
movements are unique. And
Yeah.
then anyway, I will make it shorter. But when I came to Taiwan, I started. I came here for my studies. Then I started to teach French, and at the same time, I was dancing on the side and performing. But for me, it was very limited because it's just a choreo, someone teaches you, and then you perform it, and then you're done. And there's no creative, really. I mean, yeah, it's
Mhm.
creative, but
Mhm.
um, it stays into not a box, but if it's that dance style, then it's that music, it's that choreo, it's these steps. And the more I was doing those shows, the more I felt like I want to have a platform where I can share my dance style. And I cannot really do it here. I mean, there's not a demand for that. So I thought I'm not going to wait for someone to ask me to perform my style for them. So again, I will find a way and
Find
I
a
will
way.
put my videos on YouTube or
Mhm.
online. So
Yeah.
YouTube just became a platform for me, or a library, or an art gallery. That's what I
Yeah.
was seeing it like. And the more I started to find about natural law on the side, starting to find about this esoteric knowledge, and I start to feel like I had to merge it. I had to um, express this knowledge through dance, through movement. And this is
Mhm.
how I started to make videos
Mhm.
like what I do now, where I will spread a message or I will spread some knowledge, and it will be in a way that has no spoken language, but the movement is the language I'm using to spread the message, because I found that also this message is very important because it frees yourself. It's a key to freedom, and I found that so important. That's why I mentioned earlier the situation right now. You have to look at what's the situation of humanity, what people
Yeah.
need. And I thought they need we all need freedom. We need that knowledge to get to freedom. So what do I have in my hands that I can use to spread that knowledge? And because I was doing my dance videos, I naturally started to blend the two, and use my tool, which is dance or drawing, painting, to spread that knowledge, so people then have a choice if you want to take in that knowledge and this weapon to to express yourself as well. Because if it can inspire you to express yourself, it's the best that can
Right.
happen. It's not just for people to sit and watch, and it's not entertainment. It's hopefully inspiration for people to create, and also inspiration for people to then go find that knowledge, to dig more, because I'm sharing it in a way that uh, I cannot share the full thing in one little video.
Yeah. 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 It's very very thoughtful, everything that you do in those videos,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like I've had times where I was very motivated and very inspired, and sometimes where I didn't really want to do it, but I still pushed through, and I was like, no, I have to put this out there. So it's not about my feelings, how I feel today, and what I'm going to create is I have to do it. So I'll find the time. I'll find, it might not be maybe this year, I'm not feeling the, the best in my creativity, but I need to create because of our times today, and because this needs to be out there, and uh it's not pushed into people. Is here for you to watch if you want, and it's here for you to get inspired from it if you want. You have a choice. It's not another program or brainwashing. Is you have a choice to go through this content and see what you want to learn from it.
Right. To be curious, really like a
Yeah,
port
yeah.
a portal to enter and to find out more.
Yes. And also to not because it's so easy with all the programs we have to get stuck into what we think something could be. So, like the Freemasonry knowledge, we hear some things, or of course, it's not. There's some ways that things are done that are not we might not agree with, but you have to look at the thing from the source. What is it exactly? It's philosophy to help you understand natural law, or it's not what people have done with it. So for everything, you have to go back to the root. It's the same with religion. What's the first spiritual message of it? Not what people have done with it, and then
Mhm.
they use it as a program or a way to brainwash
To
people and
control the
to
masses.
control.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So let's say a 15-minute video. How many hours of time does it take
Oh,
you to put that together?
yeah. It takes months because first I have to see in my head. Like I will sit and there will be a moment where, because first I will think about the theme first. So okay, this theme, this topic, this subject, okay, and then I will have a moment. I'd never know when it happens, but I will be here sitting, can be on my couch or in a metro, in the subway, or walking outside, and I will see the video, like the film in my head. Like I will see everything. I don't know if I'm really aware what's around me in that time, but I have the music, especially if I listen to the music at the same time, it gets even more vivid.
Mm,
But
right.
sometimes even if I'm not listening to music, I will really see kind of mostly the whole video or the whole thing in my head, and then I will write it down. So when this happen, if I have a notebook next to me, it's best because I can just write everything, and I have like pages. I just write the whole scenario and all my ideas, and then I will take some out. I will add more in the future. I mean, in the coming weeks. So it takes usually a few months to from the moment it's in my head or in my mind, then it's on paper. Then I start to practice at home,
Mhm.
and I listen to the music. If the music is my inspiration, then I will listen to it more and more and more. And if the music is not my inspiration, I will just visualize uh, things about the topic. Don't know how to explain it,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then practice in the studio. I will rent a studio to practice, and then there's a time to film, so that takes a long time as well. So time to film takes a few days usually, uh, and then the editing part is the longest. Well,
Yes.
I mean, not as long as the dance, maybe. I don't really know, but it's still very long, very long. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely longer than the filming.
Yeah. Well, you're out in nature a lot of the time and getting beautiful
Mm,
scenery and
yeah.
lighting, and there's a lot that goes into that.
So we have to drive because I live in the city, actually.
Mhm.
The thing with so I live in Taipei. The thing good about Taipei is that it's surrounded by mountains, so you're
Mm.
never too far from mountains or nature,
Mhm.
and yeah, so it never takes too long to drive and to be near a river or to be in the bush in
Yeah.
nature. Yeah, but
Beautiful.
still, and sometimes I film in the city.
Mhm.
In yeah,
Yeah,
it depends.
beautiful. Yeah, so you had to learn a lot of other skills too, like video editing and,
Yeah,
other things that go along with this creation. Derek knows a lot about that.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be draining as well. You have to really balance because you can spend so long, and the thing about editing, you will spend hours in a row. Like I
Mhm.
will stop editing sometimes at 7 a.m. and I started the day before in the afternoon,
Mm.
and it'll be like,
Wow.
whoa, it's my head needs a like my eyes need a break, my mind needs a break.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I can go a little
takes time.
confused.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
So to really back in, I'm sure just like any person out there putting stuff on YouTube or wherever, right? They're gonna receive some criticisms and yada yada. And going back to what you're talking about as far as like dealing with criticism and like just okay, like we can be open to like wanting to improve and hearing people out, but at the same time still stand within that I am and the fact that we know ourselves better than anyone else,
Mm.
right, guys?
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as far as like any kind of divisiveness you've noticed regarding your whole path work and putting out videos and stuff, have you come across resistance? Any like,
Criticisms.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that kind of stuff. And then I got a follow up
um,
question to that too. But yeah.
well, the thing of let me. I don't pay attention to it. I've
Good.
seen so much good comments and good feedbacks that actually I have received more of this. I don't think really I've received criticism or about my dance work. Um, when I have people who will like try to challenge or just bring contradictions, or I mean it's good when it opens a discussion, but when it's just not really bringing anything. It's mostly when I share uh, knowledge about natural law and things like that with spoken words on my other channel. But even like mostly like when people come at me and be like, "Oh, I disagree with this. It's not true," and it's usually when I share things that are not related to dance, but with truth or some things about common sense, or where people are free to reflect on it. But sometimes people just come very close-minded. But through my dance work, I haven't really received um, this kind of confrontation, I will say, or criticism, or maybe I did, but honestly I don't remember. And yeah, and my channel is not very popular. Also, I guess this happens more when it grows. Not necessary actually, because my other channel where I share natural law has less people on it. So you see, I don't know. Um, but just criticism about my dance videos. Sometimes, yes, about the filming. I've had, yeah, now I remember about the filming. Some people told me, "Oh, you should buy a stabilizer," or yeah, but maybe I film this way because I wanted to, I want to have this effect. Maybe not an effect of, all these dance videos now, they're like the same way, I would say, but my work is not. Um, just it's not a dance video to entertain you and please your eyes. So I'm not saying this is bad. This is looking great and it's looking awesome. And of course, I would love to have a stabilizer and do some work with it. But maybe I don't have one because it's a bit expensive, or there are other reasons. But sometimes people will tell you, "Oh, you should do that and you should do it like this and this way." And well, you could ask maybe first, why is it done this way? Because there's a reason.
Yeah, and
So
also
sometimes,
that's a logical fallacy. They're not really understanding the message or what you're trying to portray. They're just looking at the aesthetics of it and like, getting nitpicky about it. And like,
yeah,
what was that was their takeaway? That was like the only thing they had to say about watching your video. Like, they must have been so inspired, or what, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's sad people have that lens to see things through, unfortunately. So yeah, you just kind of gotta. But it does open up a conversation, if you will, to be like, oh well, what did you think about what I was trying to talk to you about? Did you learn anything other than that? This person does videos differently than what they like or whatever. Right? Like, I don't know.
yeah, and for example, the thing about the filming equipment that came, I think twice from two different people or more, I don't remember. And I just had to brush it away because I was like, well, people are never asking me why don't I use a stabilizer, you know? And then I could answer them, well, I checked, I went to a store, which is true. I went to a filming store, I checked, and it was too expensive. So if you want to contribute to participate and help me get a stabilizer, I'll be very happy. But also, anyway, it's not really what I'm looking for. Uh, it's not the most important part of what I create. Of course, I will never refuse a tool that can help me bring more quality to my work. But maybe if I don't have it right now, I think people should ask first before telling you how you should do certain things.
It's a good
Um,
point. Yeah. And the other way to look at it is like it's that I'm going to find a way to get my vision across, even if I don't have all the best technical
mm,
tools, right? Because if you're going to
yeah,
wait around to
yeah.
get XYZ to be able to do it, you're not going to get it done,
You
you
never
know?
start. You never
Yeah.
start because actually, when I decided to create more dance videos, it was,
Mhm.
I think, 2019. Oh, yeah, 2018. I decided, okay, in 2019, I will create one video per week because I didn't have the environment here in Taiwan to share my creativity and my dance work. And even when I ended up in some dance jobs, I've tried to bring quality because there's certain things how it's done here where in the foreigners industry, I would say, with dance, where I found so many things that were wrong, and I tried to bring some insight and some options. Like I offered my services to make it better, make it more respectful to the dance style we're doing. Or and people agents just told me, you don't understand, we're not trying to do art here. So I was like, well, then don't do dance, don't use dance to make money then, because dance is art. So anyway, um but yeah, I lost what I wanted to say. Sorry. I forgot.
It's all good. So we're
Yeah.
getting into the second hour of this conversation, and what's good with them solution in regards to like. So what are we talking about? What are we going to be entitling this video? I don't even know. We're exploring the mind of Doriane Greens, and it's a beautiful scene. And yeah, so my second question in regards to your experience in the dance scene, right? uh, how have you noticed how it's kind of been used in not the best ways, or and I'm sure there's uh, like a hierarchy in certain dance teams, or even like teaching. It can be really whatever, but as far as like the psychology behind why certain people go and become dancers and stuff, have you noticed that some are just like seeking that extra attention because they might not have done the shadow work to kind of get over the fact they lacked it growing up, type of thing?
Yeah, definitely.
They get exploited sometimes because they'll do whatever to get that attention, in a sense.
Yes, yeah, and you have
Hmm.
some dance styles that people use for that reason. Could be for personal uh, reasons, sometimes selfish as well, because some people actually will do dance just for money, or just for fame, or and sometimes you can see that it's just used, like you say, for this need of attention, and this lack, from you can take it back to childhood. Or everybody has a different story, but you can see that there's many, I would say, like selfish reasons uh, for some people, not all of artists or dancers, but some people, it's more like trying to fill a void, and trying to uh, fix something that that you need to work on, but you're not really aware of it. So then you find this dance, and you use it to just not think about it also. And there could be many reasons. Yeah.
You know, what I admire about what you're doing here is you've really stepped outside of the box, right? You're not staying in a mold that someone else has created and said this is how dance is supposed to be. This is, the way an artist is supposed to get their notoriety, and pay a bunch of money to get your show. Or what I've talked to some artists in the Bay Area, and it's like really cutthroat and expensive to get
Mm.
your art even seen, and it's competitive to get your
Yeah.
art in a show, and very intimidating, and it takes away a lot of the authentic reasons that people often do art or dance. And but I see both, art and dance as an art is a very therapeutic thing and a way of, kind of expressing oneself, and very beneficial to emotional management, expressing emotion. People have blocks a lot of the time in, with their emotions, and art is like a beautiful forum to work through that stuff.
Mhm.
Have you noticed that? Do you have any comments on that process?
Yeah, I think for me, dance is a step closer to freedom.
Mm,
It's we might not get like full freedom in for all human beings right now, but dance is one step. Or I would say, this is a space where I experience freedom.
yeah.
As a child already, like I said, I was dancing on those Christmas songs, and
Mhm.
um, I mean, then if you talk about religion, it can be interesting because on my mother's side, the family is Muslim, and on my father's side is Christian. But I had this Christmas song in my mom's house, and there was no problem. It was not even here for me to get any religious ideas. It was just beautifully sung, and so I was listening to this, like uh, just enjoying the melody and feeling free, to do whatever I wanted on this melody that I liked. And that's where I really experienced uh yeah, freedom through dance, when I could express myself without thinking. Because at any age, if you're alone in a room and you play music, you will dance freely. There won't be a teacher to correct you, and there's no rules. Again, I'm not against rules in dance, because it's not really rules, it's codes of certain
Mhm.
styles. But then you can
Com-
have sorry.
I was just thinking about, it's like a communication that can unify people, right?
Yes.
In a
Yeah.
You
Then
know,
you
dance.
because you
yeah.
dance the salsa really well, by the way.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
moderately. I'm not
Didn't
an
you know,
advanced
Dorian?
dancer. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah.
so you experience freedom with movement, with dance, when you really do it without thinking of how it's going to look, who is going to watch. Because again, that's why it's important to not focus on what people think, because you see it just in dance. When you dance thinking about what people will think of how you dance, you don't really dance. you know
Hmm.
you 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 don't live the art fully.
Yeah. So
So
performance is a whole nother thing, where, because you have to deal with, like, performance anxiety and
mm,
other
oh
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will even if I was performing on stage from 5 years old every year for our gala, I would be nervous to go on stage. But what helped me is that we will have the light on us and the crowd will be dark. So I could
Mm.
never see the crowd really. So I would be focused on my choreography and
Mhm.
enjoying close to how I felt when I was dancing in my room, you know?
Mhm.
You don't really see what's around you, and you're focused because you have to remember what you're doing, so you don't really pay attention to who's watching. But then when so later on I started to dance like for work and have some different kind of events where sometimes the crowd is just like a few people at your feet. They're in front of you or you're not even on a stage. So you start to you see people in their eyes, you know, and it can distract you.
Yes,
And
yes.
but if you have and it depends because the crowd will be very different. So I've danced also in a theme park here in Taiwan, and it's actually an aboriginal theme park because Taiwan has aboriginal people, so they
Hmm.
also call them indigenous people before Chinese people came. And there's a park. Well, I mean, this also can be controversial, but you will find some groups dancing. What is good is that they only hire aboriginal people to perform their traditional dances, so you can still see something
Mhm.
uh, close to the authentic dance, even if it's just a show, you know, like
Yeah.
they're not really performing a ritual or something. Anyway, that's another topic. But um, then in this kind of shows where you have to perform 5 to 6 times a day, so I was performing flamenco for like for example 2 months, and you perform every day,
Mhm.
and then you have a different crowd in front of you. Some people that just watch without watching. You wonder if they're really watching what's going on. Some people that are watching with like stars in their eyes. They're so excited, and but you see the people because it's daytime, and then
Mhm.
it can give you energy also, and you start to because when you perform 6 times a day the same choreos, you get bored of it, you get tired
Mhm.
of it. So it's hard to keep the same energy level every day, you know. And sometimes there's even nobody, you still have to perform and there's no audience. So
Right.
when you have an excited audience, then your dance will come out even more, and you start to build a connection also with the audience, so
Yeah.
you'll share more with them. And yeah.
I
It's
got
like even just a comment on that. It's like
okay.
even being on path with your vision, with your calling, it's not always smooth. It's not always, you know, the funnest, right? So there's like a quality of perseverance and staying true to a vision here, even if when you're back here, it's like, oh, do I really want to do this? You know?
Mm,
So how do you motivate yourself?
um, well, in the dance work, I would say I've been refusing a lot of dance opportunities because it didn't align with my values and what I think I should respect in dance. So I've had no problem saying no because I mean, I don't do money is not my main motivation. If dance can help me get the money I need, like everybody, I'll be that's what I do it as a job, but I will never want money to dictate my to choose, you know, to be the main thing that yeah that dictates my what I do with dance.
Right.
So when what I'm asked to do doesn't align with my dance values or my values in life, I will not do it, and I will refuse a job for that reason. And I think actually, if more people will do that, we will help also the dance industry. Like it might be different for any countries, different from your area, from here, my area, and again, here's like there's a foreigners dance industry that exists, which is different than the Taiwanese dance industry. Different levels, different problems. Um, so money is not what motivates me. I can refuse dance jobs, no problem, even if I have nothing in my pocket, And then on the artistic dance side, dance side of my dance videos, I've been very inspired all the time. Very, very inspired. It will never stop. Like I will always have a list of videos I need to do and more and more. And even when I was saying I was doing my dance videos for every week for a year, some days I film my video the same day I was supposed to upload it. But I will always find an idea and something I wanted to express. But then last year, so some things happened where I had to take another job. I just stayed there for 2 months, but more like marketing related. And I couldn't dance as much as I wanted. I couldn't create as much as I wanted. I still tried to do, I still did it actually, but I could feel like as if my creativity was pressed down, was almost suppressed. And I was a bit worried because it lasted for a year. Yeah. So 1 year, so it's now, I'm getting back to finding my original imagination, I would say, and inspiration. It's almost like if it was a bit hijacked. I haven't been too careful, and I let it get attacked, affected, and now I know how to protect it. And still, I created I focus on the dance film for the Seed 5 conference, and I was like, I have to do this. Even and I was usually the imagination, the creativity, the ideas, they come like very, like I said, I will see everything and I will be very motivated by it. Yeah, that's the conference flyer. And it will nourish the cycle, like you get motivated because of the ideas. It's actually the topic that motivates me. So you see like metamorphosis, I was like, oh, it's so inspiring, or the music, or this, or there's always something that creates this motivation and this inspiration, and then I get very creative with it, and I want to do, I want to do it. But last year I couldn't find that light. It felt like the flame was I don't know, something happened, and I know from different things happen outside that affected it.
You got off beat, off rhythm. You were in such a good flow.
Yes,
And you had to take a break
exactly.
and all that stuff. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like people are just off beat of what they want to do, but have to, kind of compromise certain things to pay the bill,
Mhm.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get back into whatever flow,
So
all the ebbs and stuff of, yeah, like trying to
yeah.
create and have that free form expression and the free time to, explore the I Magi nation within yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And the free time, that the thing is, when I was doing my videos every week, I mean, I was doing so much, and I will find the time. That's the thing, because I had the flame was super big, was really uh there was this light was really bright inside of me, and I know then that it's not, it cannot be controlled from outside, but it's because you take care of your light. So I
Yes.
didn't take care of it. I didn't pay attention, and I didn't take care of my light, and then I still created. But the thing is, when I created, for example, the video for the dance film for the Seed conference, I didn't really like it. I didn't really. I was like, yeah, okay. I'm putting all my efforts. That's the thing. I know I have to do it well, or I have to. I cannot just do it halfway. So I put all my efforts and my focus and my energy, and also the time. I forgot to mention when I created dance film is the time of research. It's also a long time. That's part of it.
Mhm.
And so I was still focused, putting all my energy, but I was feeling a bit sad about certain things, or like the sad to not feel this light, the power of this creative light as I used to feel. So I was like, okay, I will come back. Will come back one day, but I couldn't force it. I couldn't. it's not something you create, you build. It's something you cultivate and you protect. And I didn't protect it enough. I cultivated it for years, but then I let it be affected by outside situations. So yeah, it took me a year to find this back. So then once you realize things, then you can take actions to not let them happen again. So here, if I realize that I had to protect this better, then I know I have to protect it better in the future
So what did you
and be
learn
on
from
rhythm.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your lessons from that in terms of tips to help other people take care of their light and maintain it?
The thing that I'm happy about is that I didn't stop. I
Mhm.
slowed down, but I didn't stop.
Mhm.
So yes, I created less content, but I didn't stop learning. I didn't stop creating as well. But the thing I created, I couldn't be focused on too many things as I could do before. I had to do just one thing well, and it's okay. It's just one thing. Maybe in the moment I didn't like it, but now when I look at it, I'm I'm thinking, oh, it's actually like the other day I was telling my husband, oh, it's not that bad actually, it's I it's not that bad. And he was like, yeah, it's actually great. I'm like, it's also hard to be very uh objective with your own work because you can see where you could have done it um, not better, but yeah, like more improve this or. But then I just looked at it objectively and thought, oh, that's actually good. So I shouldn't be too hard on my work and what I create. And I'm glad that I did it. I worked on it. I shared it. I didn't like. My advice would be like, don't close yourself into a bubble where you end up not creating anymore. Create even if it's something small or even if it's one big piece that takes you a whole year, but just keep creating even when you don't feel like it. Don't force you to um what I mean is don't keep a balance.
Mhm.
Don't force you to do something you don't want to do. Really, like if you feel like I don't want to do this, don't force yourself. But if you know that's what you want to do, if it's whatever form of art or anything, if I know it's dance, I cannot feel like I'm forcing myself to do it. I still want to do it. Actually, I was saying, I want this light again. I want to feel this again, and be like before, like ta ta ta, like, really create. And I just realized I need to slow down. So if you need to slow down, my advice would be slow down, don't stop.
Mhm. Trust some of the natural rhythms of our creative process too, because I think
Yeah,
it's not realistic to think we're always going to be at the same intensity and
yeah,
productivity all the time. Different things happen in our lives and where we may have ebbs and flows.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Things will happen, and sometimes it will be obstacles or distractions to take you out of this path or to take you away from what is important for you to do. But you have to realize the patterns of distractions and obstacles and then don't fall in the trap. So I
Right.
recognized the trap. I could see it clearly. I knew what was happening. And I just told myself, okay, it's a time like this, but it doesn't mean it's going to destroy it.
Yes.
It's still here.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
And
that's
you
awesome. And for you, it's going to be, yeah, it was more evident than others because you have identified and have lived your passion for years. But there's a lot of other people that haven't had that spark of passion. They haven't found that within themselves,
mm,
or that, life path, like Leslie talks about with the North Star, if you will,
mhm, mhm.
and all these
Yeah,
things. So, and that can just, divide themselves, upon themselves because they're not living their true authentic lives, and they're going to be having these, inner contradictions, be
Yeah.
scratching and itching at them, every now and then throughout their lives, possibly, like that subconscious, unconscious, like, hey, I thought we had like something higher in life to do than just, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle. They can't identify what it feels like. And I'm wondering maybe you could help define a little, what does it feel like to be on the path of creation?
For me, and I don't know if this could be for everybody, but that's what I usually would give as an advice to find what you're here to do or what you like to do is to go back to what you like to do as a child.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
really go back to what were you doing that nobody asked you to do that you were
Mm-hmm.
enjoying. If you
Yes.
can remember that, then
Mm-hmm.
it's already it might not be what you want to do now, but it can lead you maybe to something else. It doesn't have to be exactly what you were doing, but for me, if I remember what I was enjoying doing and that nobody asked me to do, it was not an influence from my family or school. I know it was dance and drawing.
Yeah. Yes.
That's really what I wanted people to leave me alone, let me do this, or I would be happy to share that with friends. But that's what I like to do, and I'm sure people can go back to find something. It might not be childhood, maybe as a teenager, I don't know, but there was a time that you did something that nobody asked you to do and you really loved it. Or if you don't find this, I will say try to do something different that you've never done before. I don't know, take a jewelry workshop. It's just a class. It doesn't mean that's going to be what you will do your whole life. Or try a, I don't know, a writing class, or even if you don't want to be with people, try it alone at home. Try to write or sing or build something, do something, try something with your hands or try something with your body, would be your voice or movement or your mind. You can create so much. You create with the mind. So it can be a story, it can be try something very different or and when you do it, don't put pressure on you. Don't think like, oh, if this doesn't work, then what? Think that there will be another thing you can try. And when you try it, it's not an end result. It doesn't have to be um, like after this, I will decide if I want to do this as a job or not. It doesn't have to be a job first. First, it has to be something you enjoy
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
Later, because the job is money related, it's not related to you.
Yes.
Personally, if you like to help people, if you like to help animals, or the other day I was talking with someone, I said, "What do you want to do? What do you want to see when you wake up? Do you want to think, oh, today I'm going to feed animals? That's amazing. I'm 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 so happy to see them every day. You know, like I want to wake up every day and help animals. I don't like people maybe, but I love animals, and so then that's the first route is the first step to your path. And if think what you want to see when you wake up or what you would like to do, and then maybe then try to go in a sanctuary or an animal uh, farm, and ask if they need help. Then you will do the other steps naturally, step by step. It's just step by step. Don't
Yeah.
pressure yourself that, oh, it will be overwhelming.
How do you advise people to deal with the whole money thing? Because that really comes up for most people, that fear
Yeah.
of scarcity, the automatic thoughts that, well, I can't do that. That's not gonna, I don't have time for that. It doesn't make me any money. There's no value in that.
Yeah, that's a tough topic because we all in this situation where we need money,
Hmm.
and we also, I mean, best is we don't want to end up doing something we don't like for
Hmm.
that reason, because then it's the opposite
Hmm.
of your purpose. You're doing
Hmm.
something you don't like and you're doing something for money,
Yeah.
so you will never feel full and happy, and you will feel like you're working next to your your path. It's frustrating, it's sad. I will say, like, for example, for me, I started with a job that was not art related. I was teaching French. That was the first job I found after my studies in the place I am living. So again, for me, I see art as language as an art. So I enjoyed it, but I knew it was not what I really wanted to do. So at the same time, I started to teach some dance classes slowly, and I was performing once in a while. I was just doing my purpose, I would say, or not fully, because I was just performing for someone else. It's not my art. But going there slowly. And if you need to keep a job to do your purpose, the best is, if you can do a job that you like, and at the on the side do the things that you love, and keep that balance if possible. So for me, it was possible, um, and I'm sure there's a way. We can find a way, because I was not making a lot of money teaching French, but it was just enough. I don't need too much. It's also about, if you want to do what you want to do, and it takes, uh, you need to have a part-time job, for example, so you can pay everything you have to pay, and at the same time do what to do. Then you have to be able to see that this is enough for you. I don't want too much. It depends what people want. Sometimes people want a big TV, and they want to pay so many things that you will need to have a job that takes probably most of your time. Then you won't have time to, if that's what you want, the material things, and you need to pay these, then you might not have time to do something on the side. And again, it depends what you do. Some people do very less, like they do less effort, they do very little effort, and money just come to them. They find a way. It's about finding a way, I would say. But I know it's not easy, because even for me, I'm in this situation. But I just don't, how can I say, I know if I want to keep this art with me, I'm not going to ask for a big job that will take all my time, and then I will lose my time for art. So it's to find this compromise, this balance in what you do. And as long as you have enough to eat and a shelter, and do you really need what you say you need? You
Yeah.
know?
Good questions. And
Yeah.
it's like a commitment to yourself too, and to
Yeah.
this thing that it's like you're committed to because it's so important, right? It
Mm.
takes, it takes on an importance.
Yes.
Right.
And
I
it
think,
takes also some sacrifice.
yeah.
So I might not be able to pay everything that I want, or to travel home whenever I want, but that's also my sacrifice. And then you never know in life how things can, sometimes when you don't really focus on money and put that worry, then something comes to you, and you're surprised, and you think, wow, I never thought this could happen. you know this is helping. This is a huge help, and you get some support from people that just enjoy, not enjoy, but see also the importance in your work. And you never know where this source of income, I would say, or like this money will come from, because we're always stuck in the work get paid, or have a government pay this for you, or but there's
Mhm.
other ways that can
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a certain faith or like trust, I think,
Mhm.
in how the universe will respond to you when you step into doing the right thing or the thing that's your call to do.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
always say money is not a reward. Like, money is not the price in this universe. So even if I don't get money, and or I have very little to survive, but then I can do what's important to do, money is not the reward. Money will never uh, um, define or the quality of my work or of our art, or it's not defined by money. Of
Yeah.
course we need it, and but there, like I said, there's a way. Sometimes we'll have to do this a bit work here, like sometimes I have to take some performances that I'm not really like I say, I will refuse really work that I don't want, that I don't align with. But when I do a dance job, it's a dance job that will help me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, even if,
Mm-hmm.
like, well, now actually, when if if agents ask me to perform, I will be very selective on the
Mm-hmm.
style. And the problem I had before is I ended up doing style, like performances of styles that I know very well, that I was teaching, but I've been told to do choreography from a YouTube video that was taught to me through someone who watched the video but is not a dancer of this style. So that was modified. So then I ended up being told to do a dance on stage that looks um, like like I have the French word like déformé, like deformed or something like
Distorted.
that. Distorted, yes, thank you. So then when I ended up here, I was like, oh, never again. So now I will be very specific when they
Mm-hmm.
ask me to perform. And I've had some performances, but not many. Not many. So there's always, like, for me, I try to share also my products, my handmade products, to have this financial support. First, actually, I share them with people who would want to support my dance, because it's all online. Is There's no uh, I mean, I don't do it again for money, but I was thinking, if I could just do this, maybe I could offer something for people to make like a donation and receive my handmade products. That was
Mm-hmm.
my first idea. Like, maybe this could support my dance. So then I thought, okay, I will work on making these products better for people, not just the ones I use for myself, but make it like a product they could buy. And so I try to find ways around, to get the income, that like basic income that we need.
Mm-hmm.
But again, for me, when I started to focus too much on the products, I realized I need to find balance. In I'm like getting here, and the dance is going down, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to just make soaps, you know? It's
Yeah.
and also I see the results. They're not really
Mm-hmm.
like when I was doing uh not so much work to promote it, I had a certain result. And when I told myself, okay, I'm going to push it more. I mean, not push it more, but work on it more to to make it well and see how it goes if I put this amount of time on it. I didn't see like huge results, like almost the same. So I'm thinking, well, if it's going to be like this, I'd rather just work on my art and my dance and still do it on the side. But I cannot just put all my efforts into something I like to do, but it's not my
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. I love how you're so true to yourself, really, and
Yeah,
giving to something bigger than yourself at the same time. It's like these two threads that you're weaving together. And I feel like, we'd have a better world if, more people were able to commit to this path of like discovering their purpose and following it. And what do you
yeah.
what's your vision of like, what do you think could be better in the world if, a whole bunch of people kind of did
I
this?
think if people were true to themselves and not letting the outside voices affect them, in terms of knowing who you are, knowing what you're here to do, and people will be happier. And because when you focus on your inner voice, then you start you're not busy looking at what this one is doing and what they should do, and you see that in different situations, because even in religion people will say something, but then they're just busy looking at what the neighbor is doing, when you should focus on your relationship with God, not their relationship with God. So there's so much contradiction, and people are not happy in the end because
Mhm.
there's no freedom in that. And
Yeah.
when people will understand freedom, and they will allow freedom to exist, not try to control, they will just control themselves, not try to control other people, then that would be wonderful. That will be a place where people are happy and people will be free to find their own voice, their own purpose.
Yeah.
It will start with freedom, but people need to understand freedom and how they are destroying freedom by trying to control uh, other people and not control themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Very
talking
good.
about being misaligned to natural law and stuff, transgressions and shit? And
Mm.
yeah, going back to what you mentioned in the very beginning, as far as all these layers and stuff and things we have to unravel, and yeah, that harkens back to several shows we've had, uh, especially Loomis from Chinatown Radio out in Hawaii. But yeah, as far as like peeling back these layers and stuff, we could see the layers as all these religion, whatever false belief systems, media, and all these other things that are like these extra voices that get into our head in a sense that kind of can blur out and or
And divide us all the
yeah,
time.
so yeah, it kind of gets flooded out or whatever, drown our inner voice is drowned out by all these other ones in a sense, so to kind of like get them all out of here kind of thing, or just yeah, you know what I mean.
And the thing is, we need to, like, what I would love people to remember is that they have this inner voice. They just have to find it, but they have the power to change the situation. To
Mhm.
first change their situation. If you're in a job you don't like, or if you've always been doing something that is far from what you like to do as a child, or you can feel you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you have the power to see these distractions, see these obstacles with your own eyes first. And you have to actually realize this yourself, because I can put this in front of you, but if you don't want to see it, then your situation will never change. So, first, you have to see it, to remember that you have this power, this willpower to act, to change the situation, and yeah, to create. To be who you're here to be, and to create what you want to create without causing harm. But you have this inside of you, you have the tool already to take action.
That's that real self-worth, and yeah, I love it. And yeah, to really go over what you're talking about as far as like synthesizing, what I see is just yeah, do have to find this balance in life. And what I've been trying to do in what relates to what you're doing as well is like yeah, like aligning my financial income towards all my passions, and things in alignment to the great work, if you will, and just staying true to myself and not being subjected to whatever kind of oppressive
Yeah.
systems and all that.
Mm,
And so, whatever, we all can get caught up in or have been sometimes. I wouldn't say all, it's hard to generalize anyways. So,
yeah.
for the majority of people out there, we have to, have a job to pay the bills and all that stuff, and having that compromise to do the part-time or whatever to maintain, stay afloat financially. Regardless, what I noticed with a lot of people is that with these jobs, the 9 to 5 rat race, whatever, or shorter, longer, whatever, it takes away not just people's time, but also energy. People
Yeah.
come in drained at the end of the day. They don't have even if they have the time, they don't have the energy a lot of times to, do what they've really loved to do, unfortunately. So for people to find, ways to, kind of taper off the energy exertion towards, their financial job and save it for the after or before even, people can find ways to kind of, circumvent this, way of life that's kind of controlling them in a sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was teaching, I was like paid a part-time job, but the hours were spread out where I was working full time and I was going all around the city. So the transportations were like taking me so much energy and I was drained, like doing part-time, but feeling like a full-time. And this is when I also realized I have to to keep doing my dance because I was very tired. I was still taking dance classes as a hobby or on the side, but I thought I have to change something, and it didn't happen in a moment, like super fast. I had to still keep that job until I got more dance opportunities, started to have more than dance jobs, like the performance work as well as teaching. But I tried to build my my exit door while I was working in that job that was taking a lot of energy and not paid full time, but working like full time. Like I would be in a school from 9 to 3, but I would have only 3 classes, so 3 hours. I was paid 3 hours from 9 to 3, but I'm stuck at the school, and then I will have another class from 6 to 8. So I will have a day outside, like teaching from 9 to 8, but only 5 hours, and then I would have to pay my own transportation. I was very tired with all the transportation. It was really making me exhausted. And at the same time, I started to organize events, dance events. That was taking me a lot of energy. I was not making money from it. I actually was losing money from this. And there were some year I couldn't go home because I put all my money in the dance events, but that was my choice. And then I had to look at what I was doing and change something again. So it's always look at what you're doing, what you can do around it, what you can do with it. If you want to exit that job, what can you do on the side to, it doesn't have to be every day. You could have just, like, I had a dance class on a Saturday. So I could rest Friday night after a whole week working, and then the Saturday I will keep it for my dance class. And I was so happy that day. I was looking for Saturday. I was so excited because when it's something you like to do, you don't think if you have time or energy to create that class, for example. I was so inspired while listening to a song. I was, I'm going to teach them this choreography. So I was finding back like my dance archives. What did I learn that year? Oh, yeah, this choreo. And I was so excited. So I would put the energy, but I understand every day after work, I wouldn't have that same energy. I would be very tired from the job. So it's just to, if you can build slowly, then it will grow. You will see it will grow. You will have more things happening around it. And then the other thing is going to become smaller until you can stop it. Uh, but it takes
Like my
time.
sleep. Just kidding. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you did a
Yeah.
really good job of really painting that picture, and I think that it does require, like you said, that determination to keep finding a way
Yeah.
and to do that self-reflection, to be honest with yourself,
Yeah.
right? About the situation, the energy drain, and then to take action, to change it. And I think that, one thing that people could really work, that will benefit people is to be more comfortable with some change. Making changes is what I'm hearing. It does take like a flexibility and a
Yeah.
willingness to do things differently and try new things. And I know a lot of people are very reluctant and scared around change. So if that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah. I want to say that when you make changes, you need to understand that you can be not you're not controlling the. It's not like you control things, but you are the one making the change, so you can make it go maybe this way, then things will happen. You cannot control everything, but you're navigating your boat, so you might have a storm. Like my father, actually, that's something I love to do with him. Is he had a sailing boat when I was little, and then he stopped when I was at my last year of elementary school. So maybe around until 11 years old, we were always on the boat, and I've learned so many things that I can use in life, like facing a storm. The sea was very calm a few minutes ago, and then you have like everybody doing so many things, and like the boat being you're like it's going to sink. I mean, when you're a child, you're like, oh, what can happen, but it's that you have to understand that you are the sailor of your boat. You cannot control what the universe really, will bring to you, like the storms or the calm weather, or whatever, or some technical problems on the boat, but you navigating, so you can take it to some directions that you want to go to, knowing that there will always be something unknown or something you cannot control, but you have uh, you have the power of you have the control of your own actions. Then the results you cannot control, but you are here navigating your boat, and
Boom.
it's not
As we say
someone
in
else
English,
doing it. Right?
sorry, in English we say being the captain of your ship. Actually,
Yes,
yeah. And
that's it, right?
I had a funny smirk earlier because like you don't want to be caught being the drunken sailor on your own ship and get washed
Right.
over your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
one. And
exactly.
and sometimes things don't work out exactly. So, it's also like accepting that you might learn things through some failures, perhaps, or things that don't go the way you want, but that,
Mhm.
always sort of like making adjustments, I guess,
Yes, making adjustments, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not being afraid of the adjustments, because
Hmm.
you making them. Is not everything comes to you from outside, is you also putting something outside of you there. And why being afraid of this, change also comes from you participating in that change, so you can
Yeah.
just trust it,
Yeah. It's
Right.
exciting. So I'm thinking we're about to the wind down point. So any questions that you have, Derek, and then for you, Dorian, to think about any
Oh
points that
yeah.
you want to make that we haven't made yet.
Okay.
Um, as our good friend likes to say, Brandon Spencer, you got that natural love.
I like this one.
I know you do, and I know you got it, but yeah, like, how do you maintain alignment, if you will, and navigating the path and stuff? And yeah, Celtic Esposa has a great video titled like "Navigating Consciousness" with a really cool image of a boat sailing the tumultuous seas of reality. Because yeah, things are
Mhm.
pretty fucked up in a lot of ways and all that stuff, and people will get pulled into the programming and like like we're lost in a sea of the collective unconsciousness sometimes, as I like to call it. So yeah, how do you stay aligned to the divine in these troubling times?
Yeah, good
So I
question.
like that you point out the being lost at sea. So if you are navigating a boat or a ship, you'll have to understand how the sea works and how your boat. If you have a sailing boat with one uh, mat, how is it called, le mât? I forgot in English. Sorry,
A
but
sail.
The
you
map.
have boats that have two, some that have one. It's you sail it differently. You need to understand the language of the sea. If you don't know all these rules, I would say, you will be lost at sea and never found again. Because my father was teaching how to sail also to France, and you need that knowledge to sail. So to navigate in your life, you need also knowledge. So that's what I will use to navigate through life, is with certain knowledge. And when I really realized that the knowledge that I needed was that one, is when I found the knowledge of natural law. And it made things easy, really. Because I mean, it made life easier to navigate. It doesn't mean things are not as hard, or like might be harder than before sometimes, or I mean there will be difficulties, but with knowing just the difference of right and wrong, that you shouldn't harm another being when you make your decisions, it's very simple. You don't have to think too much. You don't have to start to go, yeah, but what about this and that, and this one say this and this one say that. It's very simple. Is this right or wrong to do? Does it harm another being? Then if it does, then I don't do it. That's it became my foundation to make decisions and to see through life. Because then if, oh, I'm asked to do this or that, maybe before if it would feel wrong and I would not know why. But now I know that it's wrong. It's not I just feel something is off, or I know, and I know how to navigate because I know the rule, the universal rule of this natural moral law of objective morality, and I know what I'm supposed to do and I know what I'm not supposed to do, and that it's not for me to choose it, and then I know how to navigate. And again, it won't be easy or just easy or just hard, or it will be always up and down, and I just have to be, like you said, on the rhythm. But only with knowing that knowledge, only with knowing this tool, I can navigate with it. If I don't know how to use it, if it's a compass, I don't know how to use it, I will never get through the sea, through the storm. So for me, it's really to understand this natural law and this knowledge around it, and that makes me able to understand how to navigate. And that's why also I try to share this message with people, this tool, I will say, this key, or so they can also navigate, because you see people lost at sea because they don't have this knowledge, and you try to give it to them, but they say, no, I don't believe in this, or no, it's just a tool, it's a knowledge for you to actually do what you're supposed to do, and do the right thing. So it's not something that I've created, or that I think is good, or it's really a tool. You wouldn't uh, have this kind of rejection if you were at sea in a storm and you are a visitor on the ship, but you have a captain, and the captain knows how it works. He got the knowledge of the sea, of navigation. He knows how the compass work, how to navigate, how to go through a storm, and you wouldn't be like, no, I don't believe you. In that kind of situation, you will trust the captain. But here you can be the captain too. Actually, we are all here to be captains. It's a ship, or it's a sailing boat that it's our body, and each sailing boat needs one captain. And so your body can only have one captain, and it's you. It cannot be outside. It cannot be government. It cannot be your neighbor. It cannot be, uh, I don't know, a religious figure, or your parents. Is You are the captain of
Right.
your own sailing boat or ship. I don't know what you
Vessel,
want to
also we say.
navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your vessel. I love that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's very simple actually, and I hope people could see the simplicity of it, and and then use that knowledge to experience freedom. Oh, Leslie is frozen. The trivium. Yeah.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
Ah, crap. Yeah, the
Oh.
Trivium. Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the last year conference. But yeah.
yeah, just real quick, because I got to give you much love and respect, Dorian. We've almost done 10 videos together, and we did
Mm.
3 little. You did the voice of some of the little in the live stream, little promo ads, whatever, and that was great. And working with Marja West and all that,
Yes.
yeah, that was really awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And also, I want to add the tools that, for example, Marja West is sharing in her book, in her work, in her videos. The tools to heal yourself, to go through all the traumas you had. That's another tool that you need to get to navigate through life. Yeah. So that's also very important work. The shadow work, the self work
great
to
call.
remove those layers, that blur your.
Yeah, Marja
Yeah,
West, one of the best.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. It rhymes.
Yeah,
Right.
Leslie, glad you came back
You
so
I know,
soon.
I just like went frozen
I
and
know
fell
we're
off.
almost about to leave, but you know you have to
I
do
fell off
it
the edge
suddenly.
of
But
the ocean, edge of the sea. It was like the Kraken, or in the Pirates of the Caribbean, the big hole. All of a sudden, you go to the nether world. That's where I went.
yeah, well, it is Monday or Moon Day, and it's
It's
about
Sunday where
about
I'm
to be
at.
full in Scorpio, something like that. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
watch
my
Okay.
sign. Yeah,
out.
Oh, it's my ascendant. Yeah.
Oh wow, cool.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I'm getting a little sleepy.
No way.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for having this discussion with me. I also appreciate both of your work,
Thank you.
and thank you for doing that as well, and
Yeah.
giving tools for people to navigate and be free.
Yeah, same to you, Dorian.
right.
I
Thank
really,
you.
really appreciate meeting you and love this straightforward, real, authentic um, like pathway that you've been able to kind of, define for us today around being like real, a real
Yeah.
human. Yeah.
And I just want to say that I'm not from like I've always had to study with scholarships. Like my parents didn't have
Mhm.
the finances to cover things like
Mhm.
that. Or even like I say, my father has a sailing boat, but people don't know how he got it, how he put all his money into this, or by a
Mhm.
not a new thing, but you can find a way. You see, it's also, even when you don't really have so much, you can have something if you really want it. And I was able to travel all the way to Taiwan because I had scholarships. And so don't limit yourself because of money. Like I need it like people, but it's just that I accept that I don't need more. I don't need a lot. That's what I mean. And don't let it control your life, because if you see this is something that's like moving, always moving as well. It's a currency, it's a tool you can use, but it's not something that should be first. It's something you can get, w- and put something you like first, and it will come as well. And even
Yeah.
if you have to find a job, like I was teaching French, is still something that I
Mhm.
enjoy doing. Like don't get really completely outside of yourself and
Yeah.
your heart. Might
Yeah.
not be best right now, like what you really want to do, but do something you like.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah. Perfect.
it's the connection is
Yeah, we're getting weird connections.
yeah.
No
Well,
worries, no worries. Yeah, that's a really sweet note to end it on, Dorian. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you.
your
It's
enthusiasm,
a bit
wanting to help out and
sorry,
bring.
the connection is a bit off,
No,
but
no,
thank you so much.
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
we had real quality video there. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful
Thank you.
conversation. Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
we'll get
having
all
me.
your
you.
contact information down below. Obviously, there's a QR code if people want to snap that up, and
Wow,
that leads to
thanks.
her website. You have a YouTube channel, Instagram, and all that. And I got trains. Le
Yeah.
train qui arrive à La Ciotat. Attention.
Oh, the train. Yeah.
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 Magnifique.
Thank
Merci
you.
beaucoup à tout le monde. Dorian, bien
Merci.
sûr. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you to
merci.
both of you.
Yeah,
Merci.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Till next
Take care.
time. Yes.
Yes.
Goodbye. Thanks everyone for listening. It's been wonderful
Thank
meeting
you,
you,
yeah.
Dorian. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.